A Disposition to be Rich. How a small-town pastor's son ruined an American president, brought on a Wall Street crash, and made himself the best-hated man in the United States. By Geoffrey C. Ward. Narrated by Robertson Dean. Copyright 2012 by Geoffrey C. Ward. This unabridged audiobook is published by arrangement with Geoffrey C. Ward, care of Brant and Hochman Literary Agents, and was produced in the year 2012 by Tantor Media, Incorporated, which holds the copyright thereto. Family is what counts. Everything else is a sideshow. F. Champion Ward. If you cannot get rid of the family skeleton, you may as well make it dance. George Bernard Shaw. Prologue. On the afternoon of August 8, 1885, the streets of Manhattan were given over to grief. Ulysses S. Grant had died 5 days earlier, after an agonizing 14-month struggle, first against financial ruin and then against throat cancer, whose every hideous detail had been reported in the newspapers. Nearly 250,000 people had shuffled past the ex-president's bier at City Hall. Now his coffin was to be borne north along Broadway to a specially prepared vault in Riverside Park at 122nd Street. No event, not even the funeral procession of Abraham Lincoln along the same street a little more than 20 years earlier, had drawn such crowds to the city. The 2-year-old Brooklyn Bridge was closed to vehicles that morning so that Brooklynites could pour across the East River to join their fellow mourners in Manhattan. Passengers occupied each seat and stood in every aisle aboard the trains arriving at Grand Central and Pennsylvania stations. So many extra cars had been added to accommodate them that most trains had to be hauled by 2 locomotives. Ferries from New Jersey and Staten Island were packed too, and the new elevated railway brought in some 600,000 more people from the city's outer regions. One onlooker wrote that the entire length of Broadway, shops, offices, hotels, theaters, apartment buildings, was one sweep of black, and even the tenement dwellers crowded along the side streets hung their windows with tiny flags and strips of inky ribbon. The vast black and silver hearse was drawn by 24 black-draped horses, each accompanied by a black groom dressed in black, and it was followed by a glittering military escort under the command of General Winfield Scott Hancock. 60,000 armed men took part in the slow-moving procession, which took 5 hours to pass. Broadway moved like a river into which many tributaries poured, a spectator remembered. There was one living mass choking the thoroughfare from where the dead lay in state.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?